What's going on YouTube? This is Ben Nader, and this is the channel where we talk about all things recruitment, business, entrepreneurship, startup, everything in between. And if you like that kind of stuff, you should definitely be hitting the subscribe button right now. So let's dive right in today. I want to talk about a topic that came actually through a subscriber comment. Now, I'm not going to call this person out or identify them by name or anything, but this video is inspired directly by their comment because I thought it was really important. And basically it related to where to geographically target clients. Should you target them nationwide or should you target them just locally in your own area? And there's a lot of elements to this, so I wanted to break it down into a video. So first things first, I personally started my recruiting agency in my local area, which is Seattle, and Seattle's a pretty large city, and so there's lots of clientele here, and I've done really well and have had continued success ever since my initial inception of the business, and there's still tons of untapped clients that I can go after in Seattle, and so I'm doing really well here. I've had lots of success, and you know, there's a lot of availability of more clients to take in Seattle. So I'm happy with that. But I will tell you that I absolutely 100% agree that you're entirely capable of starting a recruiting agency and simply just taking it nationwide and targeting clients wherever you'd like to target them. That's a total capability. You can do that. You can do it the same way that I preach how to start a recruiting agency on my channel. You can just simply not target locally, but target locally and nationally, or nationally only, or anything like that. The only thing I don't talk about is targeting outside of the USA. I only talk about inside of the continental United States. So, you know, that's one thing that's in particular, but you're entirely capable of doing this. I could start a recruiting agency in Seattle and target New York City, or I could target Los Angeles, or I could do something else. But the way I've built my brand is Seattle Search Solutions, and I've branded myself as a city, you know, specific company that works with local brands and local companies. And so that's kind of how my story flourished and how my business grew. And there's plenty of untapped clients, like I said, and so it works out for me. However, if I altered my name or if I came up with a new brand, I could pretty much start recruiting nationwide in about an hour if I just set up a new website or changed my name or did something like that and made a Facebook page and a new email. So, you know, that's how easy it is, right? So to give you some perspective. So you might live in Iowa and want to recruit in New York City, right? Or you might live in, you know, Texas, but you want to recruit in Los Angeles because you think that's, you know, the hot spot right now. Whatever it might be. Or you might want to, you know, just, you know, do this because you think that that particular area has a lot better clients, higher paying clients, better niches, whatever it might be. But people do this all the time. This is not rare. Like, this is not anything new or weird or anything at all. I'd actually say, like, probably the majority of recruitment agencies target nationwide. You know, I specifically am just local right now. I am scaling, and so things are going to happen in the future. But a lot of people, like probably the majority of headhunters or recruiting agency owners, solopreneurs, or group recruiting agencies and companies target nationwide, and they work with clients pretty much anywhere and everywhere for a multitude of reasons. But basically, in this particular video, I just wanted to talk about like the differences and the possible like pros and cons or things to be mindful of when you do make this decision as to whether you're going to be targeting locally or whether you're going to be targeting, you know, locally and nationally. So the first thing I want to talk about is the pros. What are the pros of targeting nationally? Number one, everything we do is digital. So 99.9% of the time, you're going to be having a Zoom call, a phone call, an email, a LinkedIn exchange, and that's it. And you're doing DocuSign, like you don't need to meet up in person. This is not boardroom. This is just simply like send me a check when we're done and I place the person. Everything is all done digitally. So you are totally capable of being in Florida and targeting clients that are in Seattle. Like 100%. Possible. People do this. It's workable. The next pro I would say is that targeting nationally just gives you a wider net of clients, right? So although I've said before, there is enough business, too much business just in Seattle alone. If I were to take it nationally, there's a huge net that I could cast, right? A really wide net. And I'll get to why that might be a little bit of a con in the next part, but you're generally just going to get a lot more opportunity. So we all know everything in recruiting is sort of a numbers game. So you put a lot of feelers out, a lot of outreach out, and you see what comes back. And then you work with those clients, and if they're, hip to your whole pitch, you're going to work with them and you're going to get them candidates and you're going to make money, right? So just having those higher numbers to pitch to and to be able to get your outreach to gives you an advantage by targeting nationally. I would say that a third pro to targeting nationally would be that you can capture certain niches, right? So let's say you live in North Dakota where there's nothing going on but fracking, right? Oil fracking. And you want to say, I want to target tech companies because I have a tech background and for some reason I live in North Dakota, but I want to recruit for tech companies. Well, you just might want to target Seattle, and you just might target, Silicon Valley, right? Or New York City or Washington, D.C., places where tech companies are thriving and up and coming and all that kind of stuff. So targeting specific niche companies is a really good reason why you would want to be in one place, targeting an entirely different place on a national level, right? So those are the main pros to targeting nationally. Now let's go over the things that I call them cons, but really they're things to be mindful of, because I would not negate this whole idea at all. I would say these are just things to think about, things to be considerate of. Number one is your branding, right? So my company name is Seattle Search Solutions. And we do quite a few things, but generally, mainly, I'm working with Seattle companies, right? My name is Seattle Search Solutions. So if I were to target a company in Florida and come at them and say, hey, I'm Seattle Search Solutions, they're going to be like, no, what? We don't want to work with you. Why would we work with you? We work with Tampa Search Solutions. You know what I mean? That's not how it works. You'd have to rebrand. So I'd have to just be Ultimate Search Solutions or something like that. That way I could target nationally and people would be like, okay, it's Ultimate Search Solutions, whatever, that works. The name and the branding is congruent and it works because people see this stuff and that's what they immediately think, right? So nobody in Florida is going to want to work with Seattle Search Solutions. They're going to want to work with a local company. So understand that. The other thing is that some companies, not all, but some, probably 0.01%, will want to meet you in person and have lunch or possibly sign a deal with you in person. Now, this is very rare, honestly, super rare. I've literally probably met with 2 clients, maybe over 2 years. And that's that. Yeah. So the meeting in person is going to be so rare it's not even funny. But if it happens, you're not going to want to fly across the country to meet someone just to do a little bit of business, unless it's a huge account and you're guaranteed to get a bunch of business, or it's a retainer account or something like that. But generally, just keep in mind that some people may want to meet you in person. So that's just one thing. And the third thing I want to say is that your ability and your overall, insight into that particular market that you're targeting. So let's say you have a staffing company in Iowa, but you're targeting Los Angeles. The ability to understand pay rates, the companies that reside there, what they actually pay, what niches are there, what's the going rate, right? If people are relocating for those positions. There's so many nuanced elements. I could do an entire video about, market elements and market dynamics, right? So if I'm in Seattle, right, and I'm even targeting right, just south of me in Los Angeles on the West Coast, there's a lot of stuff I would want to know about the market to understand everything that I need to know for targeting clients there, right? I need to know what they need so I can hit their pain point and do it properly. So for instance, if I'm working in Seattle targeting a company in Texas and it's in general labor, and we're talking warehouse or driver or something like that, there are people that pay $14.50 or $15 an hour, right? Whereas in Seattle, they're paying drivers, the same type of people, $18, $19, $20 an hour. That's a huge difference. So I need to understand that dynamic before I jump in and just say, hey, I can totally help you out. I know how to sell this position and I know how to totally get candidates on board for you. I know how to do that in Seattle, but I might not be the best at it in Texas because I don't know every single market dynamic, on a spreadsheet that there would be, and the demand for certain positions and the bad areas, the good areas, what's a good candidate down there, what's a bad candidate, like all that kind of stuff. If someone tells me they used to work at XYZ company here, I know their capabilities, I know their experience. If someone tells me they worked somewhere down in Texas, I don't know what they did there. I have no idea. So it's really hard to read. So there's a lot of different things about that need to be understood. You also need to understand that, like, overall, like 90% of the time with clients, that, there may be enough clients in your local area that just suffice for you to make multiple six figures in recruiting rather than targeting nationally. So what's the point anyways? So think about it for a second, right? Before you decide, I'm going to go hit Texas, I'm going to hit Florida, I'm going to hit Los Angeles, I'm going to do this. That might be a serious con for you because of this. You're going to have so much more organizational problems dealing with all of these different companies and all of these different opportunities and leads and emails and communications, etc., versus having one market, one set of companies, one large citywide pool of candidates that you're handling, versus dealing with 6 of those, right? Like, it's pretty time intensive just working my agency, handling things in Seattle, right? But if I were doing that times 6 or 7 different markets, right? Just throwing emails everywhere and seeing who responds and who works with me, it might be a little bit taxing, you know what I mean? Organizationally speaking. So I would say that, remember, there are tons of companies in 90% of markets, right? I'm not necessarily talking about, like, Wyoming, right? Wyoming might not be the best recruiting market, but I'm saying in 90% of markets, you're going to have a really, really good base of clients that you can go after. And I can attest to this in my agency working in Seattle. I have too much business. There's too much business to go after in Seattle. And it's growing, constantly growing. So overall, I would say that's one thing, that you should be aware of. The next thing you should be aware of is just to smash the like button if you enjoyed this video. I hope it provided some context for you and some value around, where you should geographically, target your clients and all of that. The last thing I also want to say is become a subscriber if you're not already. I definitely think it'll be a value add to your business and if your life. If you're creating a recruiting agency, or if you just want to talk about entrepreneurship and business type stuff, that's what we do every single day. So anyways, that's all I got today for Saturday, guys. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I will for sure catch you on Sunday, and take care.